right, we have a special mortgage show today. Been a big few weeks for us with our mortgage situation. Beds, are you ready to talk about it?
Yeah, I am, man. There's a lot to unpack. Are you ready to talk about it?
I am. It's been such a wild couple weeks, and I feel like I am like especially tired. I look tired. It's because I am. It's because we've been burning on both sides, trying to learn some new software and keep all the things that we have going on moving forward. But it's an exciting time for us. But why don't we start at the top? Does that work for you?
Yeah, let's do it.
So a few weeks back, it was funny, me, you, and someone we work with, we were texting about the national championship basketball game. You remember this? Some of our Norcom peeps are Connecticut people. So UConn was in the championship. I think we were texting, and the conversation was just about the game. And then the next second, it was like, oh, Phil's selling the company. That's like, huh?
What?
Monday, like, what's going on? And it was like a very casual inserted line into that text conversation we were, and that's how we found out Phil was selling Norcom Mortgage.
So for me, after 20 years, nothing surprises me anymore. And I know you're not too far behind me, and you're in the battle right now with like 3 kids and stuff, and your head's spinning anyways, doing the million things that you do. Like nothing surprises me right now. So when I saw that text message, I was almost like, what do I do? What do I do now?
There was no more information really other than that. I mean, I think we kept the text going a little bit, but we didn't know who it was to. At least I don't remember it being that way. And it was just like one of those moments I was like, oh my God, you know? I guess end of the day, I'm not surprised because we're in this market right now where margins are tight and volume is down, and companies Norcom Mortgages side are probably struggling all across the country. And I don't even know that Norcom is struggling specifically, but I could see it being harder for companies Norcom size to compete with companies like CMG who acquired us or other companies that side. So I guess it makes sense. I shouldn't be surprised, but I kind of am.
Yeah. So the owner of Norcom Mortgage is Phil, and ever since you and I met Phil, he has been the most straight shooter, compassionate, like all of the words that you use to describe somebody that you really appreciate and like. And this guy has tried so hard over our 9 years just to provide us with everything that we needed. And he was a grinder. And it was interesting where I always loved the fact that we weren't so super big, where you just felt like you were stuck in the corporate platform.
Yeah.
It was so intimate like that I loved it. But what I'm coming to realize is that our intimacy wasn't necessarily a good thing as far as, where we've landed now, what technology is available to us, pricing, products, all of that stuff. I actually feel like Phil did us a favor, which was a really cool thing for me because, behind the scenes, Randy, we've talked about, do we stay with Norcom, our love and loyalty for Phil and the staff and everybody, but we knew. I mean, it's not like we were at a disadvantage with Norcom, but it wasn't like we were at an advantage with Norcom in certain areas. So
yeah, for
is
sure.
that your take on it? Is that the area that you're in?
Yeah, I'm happy with what ultimately ended up happening. And just to echo what you said about Phil, like the 9 years at Norcom were amazing. So many people that are like family to me and you. We will certainly like miss them. And there's no hard feelings at all on Phil selling the company. It's a company he's built on his own. He's well within reason to sell it, and I'm happy for him. I hope it was a great deal. Like you said, we kicked around the idea of leaving Norcom a handful of times, sometimes more serious than others over the past 9 years, but we ultimately always decided to stay. And I have like zero regrets about that. So,
and we're not a big like move around type of guys. You know what I mean? We're not just looking to jump ship because there was one scenario that really bothered us. But yeah, it was in that area, and it's kind of ironic where we are now. It's like I'm smiling walking out the door, all around, because our scenario got better. I'm happy for Phil. He's going to keep his wholesale division. He sold off the retail, which is what we were part of. It's like you mentioned, things are challenging right now, and I could only guess that this actually was the Band-Aid that he needed for him to actually put his head on his pillow at night and enjoy his life and just sort of go on with his wholesale stuff. So I think kudos all around for where everybody's landing.
Absolutely. Can we talk about our hats real quick?
Yes, I'm going to get up and go get one.
Yeah, go get a hat. While you're getting up to get that, me and Beds wanted to make this push to have new golf hats for this spring. And we started the conversation back in like December. We're going to have a company called FN3P who's a local Maine golf tire company. There's the hat right there. We're like, we're buying what, 225, 250 of those hats. And yeah, we started that process. They're made overseas. Love how they fit, love how they look, awesome quality. We're going to give them out to our family, our friends, referral partners. We want them littered all over Bedford Saco Country Club and all the country clubs in Southern Maine, right? Awesome. So we get that the week before this announcement happened. We spent like $2,600 on them. And then, oh yeah, Phil's selling the company. And it's like, okay, what do I do with these freaking Norcom hats? And like every time I give them away, I feel like it's awkward at this point. I still give them away to some degree, but I'm holding on to way more than I would have been otherwise if we were still Norcom. Like you make the joke that it's like a vintage or it's a collector's item or something like that, but ultimately some people have like made it weird when I've given it to them. Like, I don't know if why do I even want this hat? It's like, oh, God damn it.
It's funny because like I like to hoard things, but I'm not a hoarder. I like with my collection of sports cards and just random stuff that I like. I'm not a seller of things, so when I collect things, it's like I love to look at them. So when I first got these hats, I'm like, holy cow, I'm going to be very selective with who gets these. You know what I mean? It's just like that process, the vetting process in my mind, because I didn't want to just let them go, but obviously we bought them to let them go. Why I say that is everybody's getting a hat now. I mean, I'm down to like 20 hats, man. I went to pub, shout out to Mick. And everybody that day got hats. I think I gave out like 20.
Yeah, good. I got to make more of a push. Now I'm like at the point that I'm self-conscious about it, but I freaking love those hats. If you want a Norcom mortgage hat, they're sweet hats. We'll give them away to you. But it was a funny little way to end the whole Norcom era with all these awesome hats that we felt like we were going to have for a long time that are now a thing of the past. Because Norcom mortgage does not exist anymore. It's like not a thing. It was sold. It's shut down. We're closing out our pipelines with a few more loans maybe in the next couple of weeks, but end of the day, there is no more Norcom mortgage. So
it's an end of an era and a reminder of what was. Yeah. What a weird thing, isn't it? And I think you should shout out the FN 3-putt, which is really fucking 3-putt for everybody. Yeah. Shout those guys out so people know what that is.
Yeah. FN 3P golf brand. Check them out online in your local country club store. Great golf gear. If we get more hats for CMG, we'll do them through FN3P, and we'll see about how that goes, though. So, should we talk about where we got who acquired Norcom Mortgage? I think that's So we've already said it a few times today, but we found out. So I think we texted that night about Phil selling the company. I don't know that I knew where it was going to be to, or maybe we did, but then it was the next day. We had an all hands on deck type Zoom meeting where Phil had like a prepared speech and told us that CMG was acquiring us. I'd be interested in your thoughts on this, but my initial thought was I was actually kind of happy, or neutral to happy. I wasn't upset about that. Like if there are other companies out there that I don't want to name that acquired them, I probably would have been more upset and was like, you know what, I'm probably not going to stick around for this transition. But when it was CMG and then the owner of CMG, Chris George, did his, I think, hour-long talk with us, I left that being very fired up. Like these guys have their stuff together. You know, this is going to be a good change. But what was your initial thought?
Okay, you start to wonder about comp. You start to wonder about pricing. You start to wonder about the software that we use to do loans. And then you wonder about, like, what does marketing look like? And I think, our office, man, what do we do with our office? I mean, we set ourselves up as an LLC, and, you know, it's been a great location for us to do business with. I mean, we're really proud of the thing. Mm-hmm. So it's like, new company coming in, what do we do with this office? So, you know, that all worked itself out, guys. We're going to still be here. You know, with you're going to start seeing CMG stuff in the next couple of weeks as far as signage and stuff. But you know what really hit home for me was two random things. Was when I cut my teeth, Countrywide Home Loans was a big provider, was a wholesale lender that we used when I was in the broker platform. Their technology actually mirrors this one here from CMG. So it's no surprise to me that some of the Countrywide influence is actually in the room at CMG. So that was cool for me to hear. Countrywide, and guys, anybody that knows Countrywide knows the story of them dying. There was a leader at the top of that just was, I mean, in my mind, I could judge him all day long and how that fell downhill and Countrywide closed. But technology-wise, product-wise, this is actually in the same area. Like you can definitely tell it's got some countrywide characteristics. And then also the marketing stuff. I'm going to be very excited to roll out some of that stuff that we're taking advantage of. I mean, that's something that I've wanted for years now that I've ventured into reels and story posts and stuff like that. And I'm sure you're in that area because, I mean, with this podcast and all the social media stuff you do, I mean, this is Randy nerd stuff. You must love it.
Honestly, I haven't been able to dig into it as much as I want to, but like basically we have this suite of options for marketing and we are at the highest tier, and what that looks like is going to be pretty incredible. I'm looking forward to immersing myself in it in the next few days. I'm just trying to catch up on all the trainings that we have, all the products that we have. But I will give CMG credit. Like they have trainings for everything. They have tip sheets for everything. They have processes for everything. Like not only can we reach out to people for the answers that we need, we can find them ourselves. And it's fairly simple. So I give them a ton of credit. They've really made acquiring a company or bringing in a bunch of people at once a pretty seamless process so far.
It's probably best case scenario, to be honest with you. And there's like a lot of nice platforms around here. Like I respect a lot of the stuff that's going on from our competitors. And to me, this just puts us in an area where we're up there. We're up there now. And it's like, I'm going to be very proud of being up there.
Absolutely. I think we both are re-engaged, reinvigorated, and are ready to do business. We're ready to help our referral partners, ready to work with buyers, trying to find ways to create opportunities for people. And I think having CMG's platform and product suite, I think it's going to really put us in a good situation to do that. So I know I'm excited about it.
I'm pumped. Yep.
So I do want to talk about the fact that the timing for the whole thing was kind of interesting for me personally with that vacation that I had and what that looked like, because we found out that Monday that the company was selling, found out Tuesday that it was to CMG. And then after that rest of that week was kind of radio silence because I think the cat got out of the bag a little bit earlier than Norcom and CMG would have wanted. So they made that announcement on Tuesday of whatever week that was, not wanting to do it, I don't believe, until the following Monday or Tuesday. So they weren't ready to make offers to us. They weren't ready to talk really about anything. So we found out on that Tuesday after that Zoom meeting with Phil and then Chris George from CMG. And then we didn't hear anything till the following week, maybe even the second half of the following week. It was a good 7 or 8 days of what's going on? Are we getting offers? Are we keeping our office? All that sort of stuff. But I ended up going to Aruba that Monday until the following Wednesday. So this whole transition week of when we're talking offers, when we're talking office, what the team's going to look like, all of that stuff, I was in Aruba for. And it could have been worse, but it was not fun to have that. Even the conversations I had to have, it just wasn't fun to have that hanging over me. So I was, like I said, still in Aruba till the following Tuesday night. Basically, Wednesday the 24th was my first day at CMG, except everyone else started 2 days earlier on the 22nd. So here I am missing my first day at CMG and all the training and all that stuff. And here we are a week and a half later, and I still feel like I haven't caught up. So it's something that I'll always remember about the transition, but it certainly hasn't made things easier.
I enjoyed everything about what you just said. Let me explain, guys. So a lot of you know us, but if you don't know Randy intimately, Randy Forcier, that's you in this case, Randy loves to do about 17 things at once. School board, owning property, making babies, having a wife, having us idiot friends, trying to golf. The list goes on and on and on. And before you left, you said something to me and you had that deer in headlights look that you have when I could just tell your processor was just hitting this certain area where nothing would fit on the spreadsheet that you were pre-planning in your mind.
This doesn't sound good, by the way.
Yeah. So I'm like, this guy's going to Aruba, and you can clearly tell he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, you got to be kidding me of all times. And Tara was like, of all times for this to happen. But I don't think it impacted our vacation in a negative way. I think I was really able to minimize it. Maybe that Monday, Tuesday, where I knew things were happening at CMG while I was there for the last couple of days, maybe bothered me a little bit. But definitely enjoyed myself. And ever since we got back, been trying to catch up, man. But everyone's been fantastic through that stuff. Like there's, like any concern I have, any question I have, any file that I need to get started to submit for pre-approval or to pull over from Norcom or to submit because someone went under contract. Like it's like they're rolling out the red carpet for us to get things done for people, so ton of kudos to them. And I think if that's a sign of the way things are going to go, then hopefully we'll have a long run over here.
You had a closing, but two of the guys that are going to sort of look over our branch are sort of cut from the same cloth as us. Just guys looking to get loans done, guys looking to do anything to get loans done. It's not a crazy statement because, you really can't do anything, outside of a box that the loan process doesn't allow. But these are creative guys. These are motivated guys. And I'm actually excited to work with them. Golfers,
guys. Yeah.
Love sports. So,
yeah, these are our guys, Mark and Scott. So they're going to be the leaders that we look up to for the New England region. And I think they're awesome guys. They're going to be great resources for us and going to help us to even do more business. I will get to say our guy, Kyle, who's been on the podcast, good personal friend of ours from Norcom Mortgage, made the transition over to CMG. We were just talking to him 15 minutes ago. And we're super excited about having him too.
Dude, my wife has been trying to call me a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt our podcast, but if you guys know my wife, she's in love with Justin Timberlake. If I lost to Justin Timberlake, no big deal. I'm probably taking Jessica Biel. Probably a really good fallback for her. Yeah. So I just got a text from her. Justin Timberlake liked your comment, and she's losing her mind right now. My wife is insane. I love it. Anyhow, sorry to derail us, but
no, I love it. Okay, so that's the story of what the past few weeks have been for us. Gives everyone a sense of like what we've been dealing with, but the excitement that we have for CMG, something that I think we're going to continue to share, the different tools that they have and the things that I think makes them different. We will definitely be spreading the word on that. What have you heard about for products, which I guess we're all learning about, but is there anything product-wise that you've heard about that caught your ear, looking forward to hearing more about, looking forward to sharing?
Yeah, several actually. So CMG has some proprietary loans. The one that's interesting is the one that acts like a GoFundMe. So one of the requirements of receiving gifts in the industry is that it has to come from a family member or relative if the loan product allows you to get that. So Fannie Mae comes out and has an agreement with CMG where basically when we have a borrower, we could give them a website that acts as a GoFundMe scenario where you could get, I believe it's up to $5,000 from a single donor. It's unlimited the amount of money that could come into it, I believe, at this point. But basically, through the site that's funding or holding this money, that becomes the sourcing of it that the borrower can use as a down payment. That one's amazing. The all-in-one loan.
Just so you know, pump the brakes on that for a second. This is called Home Fund It.
Yep.
And it's very straightforward the way you described it, but like, just so we're 100% on the same page, it's very similar to like a GoFundMe, like you referenced, but like, those type of things where someone passes away and someone starts like an online fund for their family or someone has cancer, like it's that sort of thing, but for a house. I don't know that any company has anything even close to being similar to this. Like this is a very unique product to be able to put out there. A lot of like the first time home buyers that are having a hard time scrounging up money for a down payment, if they want to have this platform to share with people in their family or in their life, they can contribute to it. $100 here, $50 there, $1,000 here. Like it's just something that over a period of time they could use to build up money. And I think it's a great idea and it's a great conversation piece for us with them as well.
Just creating options. So that's an option. That's proprietary towards CMG. Nobody else is offering it. So another tool in my tool belt.
You were going to mention all-in-one?
All-in-one. So this one is really interesting. So this is an equity line of credit, guys. So if you're purchasing a home and you have 20% down, we're going to give you an equity line of credit. We're going to give you a debit card, and we're going to attach it to a checking account. Chris, why does that matter? This particular product sweeps every night from that checking account. So you're able to pay your bills through it. You're able to put money into it. So let's random example. You make a payroll deposit of $10,000. You have $6,000 of bills due. So you hop on through the account, online transferring like everybody pays their bills, and you pay $6,000 worth of your debts. $4,000 is left over. At the end of the night, that money, they call it a sweep. that money immediately goes towards the principal of the property. So it's like reverse interest, if you will. So this is sort of a flexible loan product where basically you could jump ahead of your principal reduction, but also, I don't know, like 5, 6, 7 years into it, 5 months into it, all of a sudden you've got 35% equity in your house, and you see a property and you want to go buy it. You could write a check from that account to use as the down payment for that property. You want to invest in a Michael Jordan rookie card. You want to invest in anything, or you got to pay regular bills. You can use that. So that's a really nice product. And from my training, Randy, I guess that was a product overseas, commonly used. So he brought it here.
It's a great idea. And just to close the loop on your example, that $4,000 you said that gets swept at night, that pays down the principal. Now the interest that you're paying is based on that lower amount that is being reduced, but that doesn't mean you can't access that $4,000. Like you can use this account transactionally. You can use it for bills. It's just like whatever extra money is in there pays down the principal, reduces the amount of interest that you're paying. And if you have to turn around and use that $4,000 2 weeks later or 2 days later, like you can absolutely do that. The idea is that you're going to pay off this loan much, much faster just by having money in that account that pays down the principal for whatever period of time.
Yeah. Great way to say that.
It's pretty incredible. Again, no one I know has a product like that outside of maybe overseas, like you said.
Yep. And it's abnormal. It's not something that you see every day. The thing is it's not scary. It's actually pretty powerful. And if you have a buyer that's pretty savvy, that's willing to pay down principal quicker, that likes to use their own money, this is a perfect tool.
But yeah, if you have like someone that has $100,000 sitting in a savings account earning nothing, just put it into this account, pay down your principal by that amount of money. It's the $100,000 is still accessible for what you need it for the emergency fund that you even have it for. Meanwhile, the interest that you're paying is on $100,000 less of principal, and you're just going to pay off your payment your balance that much faster. It's really an ingenious thing. One thing that I had heard about, it's nothing. I don't think it's on the level of the all-in-one or the home funded, but there's this what's called the Fresh program. Have you heard about this?
No, tell me about this.
So this is for first responders, police officers, firefighters, teachers, things like that. All of those people, if that's their employment, they get a credit against their appraisal and reduced closing costs. So it might equate to $600 to $750 less of closing costs, but there's nothing more to it. Like if those people are in those occupancies, or employment, I should say, then they just have this credit for the appraisal and a reduced closing costs, no questions asked. I know we didn't have that at Norcom. I'm sure other people have similar things, but that's a great thing to say that we're able to offer to people that are in those jobs.
We have a construction product, a single-time close and a two-time close. We can offer equity lines now. So we can give you a standalone equity line if you own a property already. I do like some of the bond programs, but it's like that's state specific. So the state of Maine doesn't have a lot of them, but it would be cool in the future. But yeah, man, I think we noticed how much, Randy, was it like 900 products they have?
Yeah, it's insane. I told someone that today. They're like, well, how many did Norcom have? I'm like, I don't know, 15, 20? I honestly don't know. But like the list of products is insane. And a lot of them are state specific and a lot of them are very niche, but they have an unbelievable amount of products. And I really think that we can be in one-stop shop for most people's mortgage needs.
So I guess really what you can say is we left or vacated something that had a little bit of our heart, and all of a sudden we're walking into best case scenario, really.
I agree. So
yeah,
I think what this episode of the podcast was trying to get that story out for people, start laying the tracks on that narrative and sharing with people that we really are excited. And we loved our time at Norcom, and we're very excited about what's to come at CMG. And I know you'll definitely be hearing from us in the days, weeks, and months to come, spreading the word on what CMG has to offer and how we can help you out.
Before we wrap this up, do you want to talk rates for a minute?
Well, what do you got? This is a Fed day today. So what do you have? Do you have anything that's happened since we've been recording?
They just came up with some notes. The Fed has held rates steady. They're deciding not to cut in the face of more stubborn inflation readings over the previous 3 months. On the balance sheet,
of a potential raise.
What's that?
Any hints of a potential raise, or is the language suggesting that things will stay flat?
It didn't make any comments about it. I'm actually reading through some of the notes that they summarize. They are saying that they're going to slow down the pace at which it allows bonds to roll off its balance sheet. So the monthly cap will be reduced from 60 billion to 25 billion. So yeah, I guess what's interesting for me, Randy, is that in certain areas where the economic reports come out that affect the consumer, so like buying power scenarios, it's like the manufacturing stuff, the retail sales. The last economic report was a little hotter than I was expecting, but still it was just slightly below expectations. So I feel like the consumer spending is starting to weaken, which I ultimately worry about, how it trickles down to our side of the business as far as, affordability for people and stuff and the amount of buyers and what it does. But, the economy continues to stay resilient. Inflation is present. So it's like what I thought was going to be a year of interest rates lowering sooner than what we're expecting now. It's just, I'm starting to wonder, are we even going to cruise through the end of this year still with these +7, high 6 rates? And maybe next year is our refi boom for people that purchased the last 2 years,
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I feel badly for telling people end of last year that I'm like, oh, we'll have a refi opportunity within the 6 months of the new year. It just hasn't played out that way, but it's not because we were trying to mislead people. It's just I think everyone thought that inflation would come down quicker, that the Fed would be more open to lowering rates, and it just hasn't happened. So it will happen at some point. Their desired goal is to knock down inflation, to reduce rates. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. It just seems like it's more of an end of the year, early 2025 thing at this point. But we were all hoping it was going to be spring of 2024 and then June, July. And now it just keeps getting pushed down the road.
This economy is interesting right now, man. It's like there's a lot of money up top, there's a middle class, and then the people below it. It's just, I feel bad for the people below it, but there's still a lot of money out there, and it's like, due to the lack of inventory, it's like the simple economics of the supply and demand is keeping our real estate market healthy, even though it's like squeezed our business because basically refis are gone. So I don't know, man. I am in the area of wondering how much longer are we going to sit in this area before it really starts sort of tipping for a lot of people to start driving these rates down. But another thought that I have is like the inflationary pressures, and I won't go too deep in it, but basically, we experienced a refi boom where interest rates were so low for a couple of years. I feel like in the retail and the manufacturing area, they are in their refi boom right now. You can't give me supply chain scenarios anymore driving up pricing. I mean, we're way beyond that. In my opinion, humble opinion, what do I know? I think I know enough to have a thought about it. But, until people stop spending money, manufacturers and retail locations are going to keep these prices up. And I think that's why we continue to see inflation, because it's not an energy thing anymore,
Absolutely. It is interesting. But, anyone listening, be sure to know that we're following it, and we'll try to share any information that we have and advise as best as we can on it as things continue. What else you got?
Well, what were you thinking, Rand?
I was just thinking that's a good spot to wrap it up. I feel like we told a good story today, and, we had a lot of work to do ahead of us, and I think now's a good time to wrap it up.
I think if anybody is actually watching this on YouTube, I want to show you something right now. Can you see that?
You cannot see that, but it's Justin Timberlake liking your post.
And then it's my wife losing her mind.
Are you gonna frame that phone now, or what are you gonna do? Blow that up, make a poster?
That's a question for Allie. It's something I don't know. See what goes on later.
All right, buddy. Well, hey, listen, we'll do this again next month.
Thank you for listening, everyone. We appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you later.
All right. See you guys.